Hello and welcome to episode 34. We have Shinryu. He's going to be a caster from India. We've been longing so hard for you to get on the show, right? We wanted to know, we wanted your insights, and I'm so glad that you're here. But first off, how are you doing today?
Hey, thank you for inviting me, first of all, and I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I feel, really happy to be here, despite just, sneakily getting away from your grabs every time. But hey, this time I have been finally caught by the tail, and I cannot escape, I believe.
Awesome. Finally. It took a lot to get you here, and I mean the bait was set. We've trapped you, and unfortunately you have nowhere else to go. But again, you've with the Honor of Kings scene. I know it started in March, right? And you have just kind of thrust yourself into the spotlight. You have been one of the main casters. Kind of walk me through a little bit about your journey as well as getting into Honor of Kings in general.
So I would say MOBA games, especially for me, has been something that I've been in touch with since my teenage. So I have been playing this, I've been playing Dota 2 a lot back when I was at least 13 or 14 years old.
Before everything, is it okay for me to ask your age, or is that not something you want to share?
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. I'm 24 currently. I'll turn 25 very soon. My birthday is just around the corner. So I will be, getting my hands on another very strong age where I have to take more responsibilities, but hey, it's fine. It's fine.
It's okay until you hit 30, everything's good.
Oh, please don't remind me of 30s. I don't want to get old.
You can ask Holler about that. He knows a lot about being
All right, for the record, I'm like the same age as you, Shinryu, mentally. Physically, I'm a little bit older. Okay, just a little bit, by like a year or two or a decade or two. Whatever, okay? But all I know is that we're fine, okay? But back to you, your journey. Let's continue on with this.
Yeah, so, again, back to what I was saying was Dota 2 was where I began things. And then slowly I shifted to a game called Mobile Legends. Now the game's name has been changed following certain, regulations that happen in India because of few apps getting banned. Like a lot of Chinese apps, they got banned due to some security reasons. So the game name has changed. We know it as Mobile Legends now. So I began with Mobile Legends. Then I also touched a little bit of Wild Rift, AOV, all these things just back and forth. And then finally, when HOK was there, I did download it before the official launch in India, but I was just not playing it as often. But slowly, my friends, they were like, hey, let's play this game. It's getting launched and all. There's a lot of opportunities and stuff. So I was like, hey, I'm more like of a talent. I'm not a player, so I cannot be just playing the games. So then my friends, they just forced me into it, and I was like, okay, it's fun. Let me just try it more and more. And the more I played it, the more attached I had grown into it, I believe. So right now, I think I'm at a point where I'm still trying to understand the game. Again, like you said, the game just got released in the month of March. So I think there's a lot of things I'm still not accustomed to, still trying to learn. But then again, I think a lot of MOBA games are quite the same. And it's just, you have to understand how to get the hang of it. That's about it.
Okay, so it's one thing to be like a player, but then to be called out. I mean, like you had to have, practiced. I mean, it's not something that anyone can do where they can just go on stream and then like cast a game, right? It definitely takes a little bit of work. So like, explain that part of the journey for me.
Oh, sure. I think for me, the casting journey was something that was really all of a sudden, because I was just playing a tournament, and then our voice comms got released. Okay, so I was like this person who kind of just lead everyone in the game, like somebody like an IGL you can talk about. So I was like really loud. I was like, hey, I called the ultimates name, the game ultimates by their names and all the stuff. So they were really fascinated by it, the people who were like organizing the event. And the next event, they just called me up and they were like, hey man, I heard this thing, like, are you interested for casting and stuff like that? I was like, I can give it a try. So I think it was back 4 years when that thing happened. And from there on, I've been like, going back and forth games. I've done a lot of Mobile Legends, like a bunch. I think most of my life, like the MOBA games that I've been playing, I've been doing Mobile Legends. And I've also done a little bit of Pokemon Unite, if you know about it. Yeah. And then finally this year, my good friend, he like SM Gamer, I think he is also on the decks with me. So he was like, hey, let's try this game. Let's get into it. So we started learning, and slowly we just had this duo going on for ourselves, and it worked out for the best.
Honestly, I love this.
So
I love the fact that you were able to cast a lot of MOBAs, right? I think a lot of
mhm,
casters that are good with casting MOBAs already had backgrounds with other MOBAs. For example, as you said,
mhm,
Pokemon Unite was like a very big wow for me because not
mhm.
really a lot of people get a chance to cast Pokemon Unite. I want to know your journey with Pokemon Unite because how was it? How were you able to get into that then, as you said, now to Honor of Kings?
Yeah, I think for Pokemon Unite, it was more of a mentor I had. I think she was
Oh,
absolutely phenomenal. Like she taught me
Cool.
everything that I knew of, and thankfully, she's also in this game with me. Although she's going to be casting, she does not cast the regional language desk much, but for the EWC that will be going on very soon, she will be there on the desk.
Ah,
hmm,
So she goes by multiple personalities, and this time her personality is going to be Yuki.
okay.
So you
Okay.
can look forward to it, of course. And I think
yeah.
she's one of a person who can just teach you everything from A to Z. Like she knows
Mm,
everything about stuff, like beat
Ah.
any game. And I always wondered, how does she do it? How does she,
Mhm.
get all these things? So that constantly pushes me to the point that I want to learn with her. So I think that learning experience together makes it a lot more easier than you just try to learn it by yourself on a lot of things.
Okay.
So that's how it like worked out for me.
I mean, between all the MOBAs, structurally, definitely the same, right? Let's be honest.
mm,
It's the
Mhm.
heroes, it's like the micro details and like jungle, things like that, right? Where the
yeah,
games are kind of different in that sense. But if
yeah.
you had to, I don't mean to be like, creating drama here, but if we had to be like Pokemon Unite, MLBB, and Honor of Kings, like how would you rank them in terms of like sheer fun and entertainment for you?
Ooh.
I think for me, this is going to be a very tricky question,
Mhm.
honestly. But
It's
just
bait. It's
personally
bait,
for
by the
me,
way.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
bait, I know, right?
yeah.
So, personally, since I've spent most of my life playing Mobile Legends,
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
that's where a lot of my fun times have been around,
Yeah.
and I
Okay.
know a lot more people out there. So
Mm-mm.
it's
Yeah.
always like a nostalgic feeling for me going back there.
Okay.
HOK is still very new. It's
Mhm.
developing out here. I am still getting accustomed to it. I'm trying to know the players and all those
Yep.
things. But
Yep.
I think it'll still take a little bit more time for it to just get built structurally. The framework is still absent in the scene, but
Oh.
somewhere we are getting there. I think with a year and a half, I think we might just get to a very substantial point where it can survive and it can, it can attract a lot of more players and talent
Yeah.
is like. So that's where that's where I feel just for now Honor of Kings is
Mhm.
there's a little bit time for it to develop,
Yeah.
but the other games
Yeah.
they have developed because of the time frame that they have gotten into the scene. So they have this
Yeah.
proper structure, they have these people who have been walking
Yeah.
around. So for me, I think Mobile Legends is number one for me personally.
Mhm.
Mm.
Pokemon Unite, I think I'll place it at number 3 for
Okay.
now because a little bit of ups and downs out there.
Mm-mm.
But
Yeah.
Honor of Kings, I think it has been treating me absolutely best for
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'll place it at number 2 for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry, it'll change. In like a few months, it's gonna be
Mm.
number 1
Yeah.
for sure.
Sure.
Especially after this EWC, I think that is when
Mhm.
you're gonna be changing the rankings for now. But I got curious though, because
Yeah.
as you said a while ago, yes, Mobile Legends there, and you're still learning HOK. For me, I feel like this position that you're in is the best
Mhm.
position to be in
True.
to learn.
True.
Because
Mhm.
we already know the game. And
Mhm.
it's a dream for us to go back and unlearn everything because discovering the game is always great. And
Yeah.
yes, I think you should cherish this moment to
Mhm.
learn. And
Mhm.
probably, most likely, you will be able to learn a lot of different things that probably me and Holler hasn't seen yet. So yeah, that
Mhm.
is a good position to be in.
Absolutely. Then that's why I took the opportunity to personally ask Holler to teach me the stuff that I don't know about because I think experience always breed
Yeah.
more knowledge. So that's why I have to learn from the experienced ones. That's what always my goal has been. I've been always trying to learn things because I think if I just try to watch things, then it'll not be at the same result as
True.
somebody who
Yeah.
has
True.
taught you things, right?
True.
Yeah.
I think you're
And
just
it's
making an
always
old joke, by the way. But go on. Sorry, Dash.
That's true. That's true. That's also a tangent to an old joke. But one thing
Mhm.
that's good about that though is this position you're in also is great because you also have some casters that like Holler, who is old and experience. Sorry, that is a slip,
Okay.
slip of the tongue right there. But that could teach you about the game, and that's honestly really great. This is one of the benefits to be in a very growing region for you guys to have, and also to learn. Yeah.
Like part of the struggle, I'll not say be struggle, but part of the trick is for me, I have to do it in the regional language. I think I'm much more comfortable when it comes to English because I have done a lot more English casting than the regional language. So I have to translate this. I have to like constantly remind myself in my head that not English. You have to do it in the regional language, and I get called out every time on my on my earphones by the producer, like, hey, not English,
Don't
Hindi,
speak English.
not
Yeah.
English. Yeah. So that's what happens behind the scene for me.
Same position for me, brother. It's the same position.
I mean, checking your Instagram, I see that you say fluent in English, Hindi, Bengali, and Nepali, and I'm thinking, yo, brother, like leave something for the rest of us, right? Like how
That's true.
like I barely speak English, and like you're out there like with all the different languages. But when you're doing these type of casts, like how are you able to code switch? Like that is definitely a skill, and you do it very well. But explain some of that process.
I mean, for me, I have this opportunity of being born at a region where it is very culturally rich, Like when I say culturally rich, I mean like it has this a very mixed breed of people. Like it has it's like a corridor to a lot of the zones. Like it's just the northeast region that we call. So from there, like we get very bunch of people, and then there are people from the North India as well as South India that comes as well. So this mixture, in a way, it has really helped me to actually, just have a very consistent fluency over the language. I think when I talk to people a lot more in my real life, I have to just speak in a particular language for them to understand. And when I do that, I think I have this constant, the switch in my head that, okay, I should not be using the languages that they do not know about. And that practice constantly over the years, that has built me into a point where I can just actively think about it. But then again, when I'm getting really into the flow of it, I think that's where my most comfortable language comes out. That is the English. So I use English as a filler for a lot of things where I cannot, just practically tell them in the regional language or the language that I'm trying to intend to tell them in.
So your default language is English at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
I think
go
also
on. No, go on.
I think also a part of it is my household, where my sisters they always constantly talk to me in English. So it has been a practice. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you are in a household that speaks a lot of English.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a very good position to be in, honestly, because one is to learn like English, then learning the other languages that you have in your belt. It's honestly such a good skill to have because you can cast in all of those languages if ever a need comes in.
Actually, I have.
Right? Okay, there you go. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, that's the reason I have to, put it out there. And apart from that, I do understand a lot of other languages too, which I cannot speak as of now, but I'm slowly trying to, get into it. Maybe in the future, I can also get good into it, like good in it.
But when you cast, it's like instantaneous, right? Like when I'm trying to speak another language, I'm processing, there's like a loading time, there's smoke coming out of my head. It takes a while for it to get out, right? What are some tricks for me to get better, to like basically be fluent in this and to be able to cast it in another language?
For me, see, I still believe that my regional language, I'm still not good at it. There are people who are really, really extremely good at it. They can do it much more better than me. But the good thing about the practice that I have is that I can bring the hype to the table. I can bring the experience to the table. That's where it counts, like there are people who have been casting a lot longer than me, but when it comes to me, I feel it's more about how I can, narrate my thought in a way that other people cannot replicate it. They cannot, get the same thing, because being experienced in MOBA is very much of a different or a foreign term for a lot of the casters in India, because I think more than MOBA, the FPS games or the the BGMI, or what we call globally as PUBG, Free Fire, these games are much more popular. So MOBA games are really still trying to grow into the scene. It is at a very infant stage, I would say. Like I mentioned, the game got banned in the past and everything. So all that thing actually just hampered the growth in the current scene, and now again it's trying to regrow from where it has left off, I would say. So the scene is still new. Like again, more games are getting introduced into the esports scene as well. So I think it'll still take time for a lot of people to learn MOBA games in particular, then cast into it and everything else that comes along.
Okay, I am curious though. You were saying a while ago that the MOBA scene, is that correct? The MOBA scene or the mobile scene?
The MOBA, like MOBA is like multiplayer online battle arena.
Okay,
so the MOBA,
the MOBA scene is very young. How long has MOBA been like? Why do you call it young? How long has it been ever since the scene has started? There.
See, for Mobile Legends, it got released in 17-ish, like late 16, 17-ish. And for HOK, like, it just got released this year in the month of March. Pokemon Unite and everything, they have been around, but they did not pick up much popularity. The one thing about Indian scene is how affordable things are. For a lot of people, they cannot afford laptops or computers to play games in. So their only resort would be phone. But then again, there is a very high difference between the good phones and the budget phones, right? On budget phones, you cannot run a lot of the applications, a lot of the games. So technically, people prefer a little bit of budget devices. So because of the economical condition that they are in, like not everyone is coming from a very affluent family, right? So that's where things are different. And when it comes down to how the games are, I think FPS games or the shooting games are a lot more easier to play compared to the MOBA games, because they bring a lot more mechanical things, the technical things which you have to learn. And there's a lot of grinding into it. You have to just, build things, you have to learn particular hero. But in FPS games, you just learn how to shoot, how to aim and all those things. And it's just the same for most of the characters and most of the part of the games. So that's where I think a lot of people, they get bored out of the MOBA games. They do not take it for a long term in general.
Okay, so
you first, Holler.
So for because you're talking about the FPS, like Free Fire, BG, all the battlegrounds, those are very popular. But like, what percentage would you give it where those are MOBA? Because I mean, MLBB has been there for quite some time. What is it about it that they haven't cracked it? And like roughly, like where would you rank MOBAs in general in India? Like how receptive has it been?
For Mobile Legends, I think in particular, it is very regionally divided. So we have this northeast side where Mobile Legends or this mobile games have been. I mean, when I say mobile games, MOBA games in particular, have been very popular because I think this part of the population, they are really into they're kind of westernized. They're more westernized compared to the rest part of the India, because they are a little bit more traditional. They do not like to just go into gaming as such, because a lot of the times, a lot of people, they like to game, but I think for their family reasons and so on and so forth, they have to give up on the dream, because in India, it's very difficult to get employment, as you know, because the population is huge and you cannot just, get, the competition is neck to neck out here. So when we talk about the games, I think people, they would prefer games which takes much lesser time to learn and much lesser time to, get into it. And it's very quick. I think for mobile games, you have to get a lot of levels to actually just get into it. You have to understand the game mechanics, you have to understand the hero mechanics, micro, macro, and so many things, right? The build pathing and everything that comes across and that come along with it. I mean, so when it comes to FPS games, I think it's more about how you just play it as a chill source. Like you're just trying to, just looking for some form of entertainment rather than just, how do I differentiate this one? Like for FPS games, it's more like people, they play it for just the sake of it. They just want to just be into the gaming world.
Right.
But for people who play mobile games or MOBA games in particular, they are more into how they want to go a little bit more into competitive. Like they're a little bit more not casual gamers, we can say. At least those who are sticking by in MOBA games. I mean, again, not to take it away, I know Dash has been confused. In FPS games, there's a lot of competition. The competition is much more tougher, but there's a percentage of the casual gamers a lot more compared to MOBA games.
Definitely. Definitely. I really was just I just really love this position that you're in, because you are a MOBA caster. And honestly, as a someone who casted FPS myself and even Holler, so I think there's a very big fundamental difference also when it comes to casting those games. It's a different set of skill. And I love that you're in this position, that you're already casting MOBA. You already played a lot of MOBA. So Yeah, I just want to say I've been yapping a lot, but I've just been impressed on the position that you are in, Shinryu.
I think again, for FPS games, the scene has been a lot more mature currently. I think the companies that have been doing it, the casters as well. I think they have some of the casters. They're also internationally recognized. They're very famous in India as well. They are like there's some I would say there's some influencer type of level that they have achieved as of now. But again, I think if you compare the both side of the spectrums, where we take the FPS games and we take the MOBA games, the difference is quite stark. I think it's like very huge difference. I think people are still trying to get into it, but they don't know how to. They are still getting into it, and sometimes what happens is like the MOBA community, they can be a little bit toxic and they do not like to welcome new people. Little bit, but again, I think we are walking through.
That, but go on.
No, not really.
It goes come and go. I mean, it's just depends upon the people. But I think now, after a lot of the international tournaments that are being recognized in India, and India getting slot, for example, the HOK, the game got released and we got 2 EWC slots, right? Something that is a dream for a lot of people who have been playing this game and who has been grinding for a long time. If they have not been playing HOK, they have been playing AOV. So they're just there, right? And for other games, they already had the international slots. They have been people grinding for a long time, and there's so much investment into it. I think MOBA still requires that investment to come in, and they still need a little bit more time into growing the scene rather than just doing events after events. Because I think events, yes, they are a very good source of building the competition, but you have to also be preparing the people what comes after the events, like the off seasons. What are you doing? How you're recruiting the people and everything, right? That's where I think it is a little bit lacking, but over time, I think the players, they will also get serious, because right now they are living a dual life. One, they are trying to focus on their real life responsibility. On the other end, they're trying to be a gamer. So once the gaming career has been developed and they can just pursue it for the long run, I think it will be much more better for the people.
Okay.
I've been learning a lot about the Indian esports scene because of Shinryu, because in the Philippines, I'll be honest, it's a different thing. Like in the Philippines, there's a lot more MOBA gamers because everyone started from Dota 1. Everybody started from there and it all grew. That's why in the Philippines, it's not really, the FPS scene is not really that big. Yes, there is CODM, there is PUBG out there, but it's a lot more like what Holler was saying a while ago. It's more like a 70-30, 80-20 that MOBA players are more in the Philippines. That's why MLBB and even MOBA games like Dota 2, League of Legends, HOK are big in the Philippines, because Philippines is a MOBA loving country. That's why learning about that for India, that it's the other way around, I love it. I love it. That there's really a big difference.
Yeah. And I mean, just to kind of add on to that, I think that the timing for you with the inception of Honor of Kings, right? It's like the grassroots, and the build up from here is just so great. But I mean, when I'm looking at the teams, one guy that sticks out to me is Crowley, right? Because I actually remember him from Dota. Like I used to watch Dota and I remember him. Like that's how far it's been. But like who is like the Honor of Kings faker, if you will? Like who is that guy? Is it Crowley? Is it who would you think that it's like, this is the guy that's representing right now?
I think Crowley has definitely made a huge name for himself, not for just this game, for a bunch of MOBA games that he has been playing. Like Dota, I think his achievement just speaks for itself, right? I believe he is the one who can just even focus on this field as well. Although he has been quite a while in the scene, but still, like, I think he has been the undisputed GOAT when it comes to these games. But I feel there are a lot more youngsters who are also trying to rise in the leaderboard, rise in the ranks as well. But I think to be the face, there's still time. I think this is like a very very infant stage, like I mentioned, right? I think we need to see international events, one or few international events where they perform, where we see how they are performing and how they are doing into it, as long as also the domestic league. For now, I think Crowley's team, they have been winning most of the tournaments, right? They have been the champions for every tournament that are happening. Even for the Asian Games, they went and they represented. Although Crowley was not able to go there, but his team was there. And now this time for the EWC, he has been practicing. I heard like he has a boot camp in China right now. So he has been like doing absolutely phenomenal for now. And And the good part is that he is also part of a very good org called RNTX, who also globally represent a lot more. So I think that also gives him the access to a lot more things, which a lot of the other players, they cannot just yet, until and unless you're in an org. It's difficult for you to get those things. So those facilities and everything, of course, that will give you a lot more upper hand when it comes to the youngsters. And one of the players that I would like to mention about would be Senpai. He's also in RNTX. And he is called the prodigy. Like, he can play any role for now. Like, he has been grinding for a long time, and he's another face that is also trying to rise in the scene for now.
That's awesome.
Ooh,
that's awesome.
He's the farm laner, right? He's the farm laner from their side. Yeah. So honestly, just having a good farm laner for your team. So for now, that is your call. That is the rising faker, if you will, of India.
Could be. Like,
we'll get back to you. We'll get you again after the next local event and ask you who is the new faker.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the two teams. I mean, Revenant, Xspark, we kind of understand. I do think that this is also one where Jingtian is going to be there, which wasn't there at the Asia Games qualifier, obviously, because he's not Indian. But I do think that it's something that he's kind of added on, right? He wasn't able to play in the finals, the Kings Arise. But walk me through Jingtian's play. Is he like next level? Is he going to bring this team? Like, how formidable is Revenant Xspark, in your opinion?
I think with the addition of Jingtian, I think the team has grown a lot more in the aggressive nature. I think they have learned how to center around the hyper carry meta, where they are giving the resources to him, and they are expecting to play around him much more. So what happens is, like, he's the one who is the charge of the team fights. Basically, he will call out. I don't know like how the team call outs are yet, but I feel like upon his call, the team likes to respond a lot more. So when you see Jingtian play, you will see the team much more aggressive and much more collected into what they need to do and what they need to be doing around the map. And I feel they look much more in control of the game. And even if they are behind, even if they're trailing behind in terms of the goal, and if they're not in the position where they can get the game quickly over, I think with Jingtian, they are much more having the option to go for comeback plays. That's what he adds to the table because of his experience outside India. I think that also adds a lot more. And the rest of the player, I think Senpai, he does pick up the pace when it's required. The side lanes are quite, I think they are at least 70 to 80% independent when it comes to the mid to late game. But in the early game, they do require the rotation. They do require the help in the, just to winning the lane or just get their farm going and all. But again, I think one of the players which we also like to see a lot more would be Crowley, when he is actually, doing the off-map things. Like when I say off-map, I mean like the things which are not caught on the camera. Like you do not see him, what he's doing, but the moment you see him on the map, you will already see him in positions where he's ready to go for the engage, go for the initiations, and all these things that actually adds up. And I think that's given his experience and given his, the nature of the game, he understands the dynamics quite well when he needs to engage and everything. So I think this dynamic of both the experienced player, it really push forward the ground for the other players to actually just be a little bit more reliant on them. And overall, it adds a very good dynamic to the team.
Interesting. I do agree with you. I think that Crawley, whenever I saw him in those games, usually the plays are happening because he happens to be there at the right time. And that comes with that experience, all of that MOBA experience. And he sets things up really well for the team. And he survives. That's really hard to do as a roam at times. So I do like Revenant Xspark, but let's talk a little bit about the play-ins. Let's talk about S8ul Esports. This is the other team that made it as the second slot into the KWC, representing India as well. This is an interesting one because we didn't see Kong. He's going to be joining as the jungler as well. Miriam actually pushes up into the clash. And, Doofy, we saw him playing at the Asia Games qualifier, playing for Nepal. So we have a little bit of experience with his squad. But walk me through at least S8ul's team.
See, for the finals, which happened as a LAN event, both the junglers were absent because they did not get the visa on time. So it was like the team, they had to play without them. And when they played online qualifiers, when the matches were held online, both the junglers were present. So if you see the city qualifiers, I think it was around... That was a time where both Kong and Jingtian, both of them played. And I feel for Kong, he also has kind of the same level of experience to the team. I think for S8ul, they had a very huge roster, and they kind of worked through it, and it kind of got shuffled. And when I say shuffle, like they had just different synergies with different players, so they tried to work through it. And the moment we saw Kong playing into the lineup, it looked a lot more polished. I would say the team looked a lot more polished, even though they had a little bit more of their own weaknesses. But I think they were still trying to work through it, and they were trying to just get to a point where they could play around the team rather than just having the individuals carry them. I think that's where they had a little bit more space to just play around. Especially for Kong, I think again he's kind of I don't know if I can just compare with the same league as Jingtian, but I think they're quite the similar when it comes to the Indian scene. Like they both add the same level of aggressive nature to the team. And I think for S8ul, they still have to just walk through their lineup a little bit more, because they still had a little bit of fundamentals missing when it came to the the team engages, or when it came to the individual micro of the game. So I just feel that this is my personal view. I think S8ul, they require a little bit more time, and they need one more person who can step up for them. Like how for RNTX it was Crowley, they need one more person from their team to step up for them.
Yeah, I think one of the things that these two junglers have given the Indian scene is that before this, I was watching a bit of the Kings Arise. I was watching a bit of that, and honestly, one of the things that this junglers have given when they were introduced into the team, I think, is assassin junglers. And I think that is one of the things that has really helped people have those aggressive plays. And we have seen that from the past few games. I think people have been playing a lot more of the Dunes, a lot more of the Kaisers. And this time around, at least, they have a little bit more of the, how do you call that? The versatility of having that experience for the team. And that's why it was really helpful for their side. But again, that's just my thoughts again.
No, I think you're quite on the right path with this one, because I think when it comes down to just the Indian players playing, they are still trying to play it safe. They're not yet trying to risk, or they're not trying to take, I would say they do pick assassins. It's not that they don't, but sometimes what happens is that it does backfires a lot more. Like they're not able to get the play that they're looking for. Yeah. And that's about it, because I think for the other heroes, when it comes down to I would say Fade and some other heroes like even Ogran and everything.
Luna.
I think these I think they require a lot more mechanics to learn, right? I think these are not the easiest heroes to just get your hands onto. But the moment you do, I think you can just carry games. And that's what we saw. That's what we had seen from players like Kong as well as Jingtian, because they have already gotten used to it because of the time, and they have invested into learning these heroes and playing the game. So I think give it a year. I think the Indian players will surprise you as well.
I think you're in the right timeline here, because some players from the other regions, they had to play for a year before they were allowed to play a Jing or a Luna and put it on a tournament. That's why it's gonna take a bit of time. But once they get it, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think going into the first year, especially on the stage of like the KWC, there are going to be some KPL teams that just like absolutely blow the other teams away. It's not even fair, right? And I think that there's a bit of a surprise. Like going in, I'm trying to manage expectations. For all of the new teams that do play, you're going to be shocked. Like it's going to be like shock and awe, I would say, right? Because they're just a different level, right? But the biggest thing is that we've seen, especially in like the PKL with like Blacklist, for instance, or even like Nongshim and KML with Korea, is that the teams that stick around get better. They level up, right? So it takes time to kind of nurture these type of things. So I think that in terms of like the overall expectation, you can't be like, oh yeah, top four, whatever, we got this. But you got to be like, okay, let's be realistic, right? Like we don't know what we don't know in terms of some of these teams, and they are phenomenal.
Yeah. I feel definitely. I think the time is very much relevant when it comes down to the esports scene. I feel, when a new region, they go out and they just play, there's a lot of pressure on them just because, first of all, you're getting 2 slots, which is not offered to a lot of the other regions. So when you get those 2 slots, you have this pressure on you that we have to perform. If we don't, then next year we might not get the second opportunity, like those sort of things. So this kind of add more pressure, more latent pressure on them. But the general fact is still being the experienced team will outperform teams that are coming for the first time. The amateur teams, they, when I say amateur, I call them amateur globally because they have not yet represented or not yet, just have the opportunity to play in multiple tournaments. So this is like a amateur versus a pro player kind of situation that we are finding themselves into, right? So I think it'll still be like, again, give it a year. I think they might just get more used to things, more used to the mechanics of the games, and more players will step up where they, once they have gotten the experience of the international, level, international stage, I think they will understand that what things they're still lacking, and they will work upon them, and they will just, try to cope with those things, and perhaps they will also try to, bring more glory to the country, because I think again, Honor of Kings, this is very first time that they have got introduced, and a lot of the people, they were expecting it to just come into India and get this opportunity, because even though the game was not launched in India in the past, but they had been playing it, the global version, that whatever they could find across the board.
Yeah. Awesome. And always for a tournament, yes, there are always going to be winners. I've recycled this a lot on broadcast. There's always going to be winners, and there's always going to be learners. And being a learner is not a bad spot to be in. It's especially for them, for the teams that are here. This is a lot of great experience, learning a lot of the rotations, learning a lot about what are being picked by a lot of the teams here. Is something that is always great to also elevate the region and the other teams that are going to be joining for the next major tournament for India.
Yeah. I mean, I think for India, like I said, you have to give them the time, because it's just been like 4 to 5 months, and I think it's still not enough.
Yeah, I agree.
They need time.
All right. Well, speaking of time, we're getting to the point now where we need to do a little bit of just, again, I don't want you to, we don't have to go to the entire KWC. But I do want to talk a little bit about your expectations. Like, let's talk about S8ul in terms of just Group A. I think it was a fortuitous grouping for them, in the sense that they're against some of the AOV squads that might not be as familiar with Honor of Kings. So that there's a little bit of a skill differential from the different groups. It just happens to be that way. But does S8ul, are they a winner or are they a learner coming out of this Group A?
I feel this is kind of, again, my personal take on this one. I think they are still a learner, halfway there, but they still can be. They can still be upsets. I think they can just, win this group, given the nature of the game. They still, I would say, like, even though they are going for the first time, but I feel they have that, they have the elements that are required to win the games. It's not that they're lacking the fundamentals, right? So if they can play the fundamental outs really well, and they can just, focus and be disciplined into the game, I think they can win games for sure. Like, it's just best of threes. And I think best of threes can be a lot surprising compared to best of fives or best of sevens. And I think in best of threes, there will not be any global bans or such of that sort. So maybe, correct me if I'm wrong. So if that is not there, then
I need to check. I don't think they don't do it on best of threes usually, but we'll have to check.
Yeah,
they did.
I think they also do the global ban and pick. I think
it does. It says it's all matches.
Yeah,
all matches.
All matches. It's gonna be
does,
global ban and pick. But I can understand what you're saying here, because in a best of 3, there's only like one game that the other heroes are not going to be picked anyway. In a best of 5, it's going to be much more impactful. But in the best of 3, you're basically playing everything.
Yeah, I think, see, like, again, the game has a lot of the heroes which are played differently, so you have to give your time to learn into it. So when it's a best of 5, you have to showcase a lot more of your hero pool compared to a best of 3s, right? So I think you can learn 5 heroes really well, but you might not be best at the 5 heroes. So when you have like lesser games, it's much more comfortable for you to just play the heroes that you're best at.
Okay.
Yeah, even for the casters, you also need to showcase your hero pool whenever it's a best of 5 or best of 7, because you have to remember a lot of the heroes though.
Yep.
All right. Revenant, Xspark, or S8ul, which one is your champion going into the KWC?
Of course, I think RNTX going into this tournament will be the much more crowd favorite. But then again, S8ul, they have a much bigger, I would say, support. They have a lot more fans compared to RNTX, because they are much more, when I say established. They are much more established in terms of their ways that they have participated in the tournaments or the games. So their fan base really expands through a lot more compared to how RNTX they're doing. But I think when it comes down to these two teams, there will not be a division because of both the teams representing India. I think the crowd will be supporting regardless of who it is.
Yeah.
They will just pour the support and their heart for the teams out there. Especially for S8ul, I think they have this tendency of really having their crowd piled up for them to support themselves. And for RNTX, they are much more of I would say they just more of a like go with the flow kind of situation. So they just have whatever they get, they take it, and they just believe in more of a performance. That is what they're hoping for.
Okay, 20 teams that are making the KWC. Where does India? Do they make top 10? Do they make top 15? Like top 5? Where do you expect them?
Again, this is always my personal preference and personal opinion, right? And I would say I think India is still not top 10. I believe like I would be overestimating their strengths and their performance if I say they are top 10, because I think globally the teams could be really, really great, amazing teams out there for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think somewhere around the top 15 to top 20, somewhere around there for sure. But I think if there could be an upset, then India can come to the top 10 to 15 as well.
That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. I mean, it'd be great for the game, the community, and all that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But as we're looking to kind of wind things down a little bit, any sort of shout outs to your fans, supporters, anybody else that you'd like to kind of get out there?
So I think even though I'm not at that level where I can just call myself a really established caster yet, but I think I'm walking myself through there, and it is just because of the support that I have gotten from my friends as well as the co-casters that I've been paired with. I think their experience, their the way that I've been casting with them have really helped me into growing into the person that I am today. Especially I think my friend SM Gamer, he has really taught me the regional language to the best. Like I would have not imagined doing it with somebody else apart from him, because I think like he is the best when it comes to the regional language. He's like 10 times better than I can ever be, even as of now, if I keep on learning. But again, when it comes to the other games, I think there are a lot more of my friends as well as my co-casters who have, still I work with them from time to time. And whenever we have a conversation, I think they always put me into a place that they show me their support and they, give me the push that I need to continue going on in this journey, because it can get overwhelming a lot of the times, when you have to just speak for hours and you just exhaust yourself. And again, you have to think like you have to do it tomorrow, you have to do it the next day, and it kind of
You're gonna do 3 more series tomorrow.
Yeah. So definitely, I think it is because of their, the conversations we had, the support that they show, that I have been able to, pursue this journey longer than I actually had expected myself to be in.
Okay. What a great answer, by the way. I feel like, Dash, I give you so many opportunities. You have never thanked me once, right? And look at Shinryu here just showing up. That's the proper answer. That's the way you should be doing it. I have we're going to have to talk about this offline.
Okay, sure. You never give me the chance to shout out anybody,
Anyways. But I do appreciate, Shinryu, honestly, your insights were very helpful, right? Because I wanted to understand the India scene. I know it's growing. I know it's budding. I know it actually already exists, right? And I think that for it to be coming into the Honor of Kings ecosystem, it's going to be scary, right? Let's be honest. Once you guys get going and then everybody's on board, like the sheer amount of just like skill players that we see from that region is going to be next level. So I'm super happy to get those insights. You're in the perfect spot. The grassroots, all of it is so good. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Any sort of final words? Dash, you want to go? You want to thank me now? No?
Honestly, yeah. Okay. Shout out to Holler. Thank you so much for having this podcast. And continue. Maybe any final words, Shinryu, before we close it out.
Whatever I've said about the teams, I still stand by it. I do think they require a little bit more time, but again, what I want to say is like I want to extend my support as well. I think me being a caster, I also have a very huge responsibility into showcasing my support towards them. So I always will be, rooting for them, whatever their performance be at. I think representing India is itself a bigger glory than winning big titles. We will get there for sure. I think not this year, next year, the next tournament. I think we will get there, but I think as long as they're grinding, as long as they're pushing themselves into being these players that they are, going and representing India at the biggest stage. I think we all are happy to see them doing whatever they are.
Awesome. Great answer. Thank you so much. We're going to be closing out. We will catch you guys next time. Thank you so much.